Well, I'm really enjoying our Henry AR-7 survival rifle. It's really cool. It's lacking in a few areas, but really you can't have the perfect gun, I guess. Well, maybe a Glock 19, but other than that, as far as a perfect survival rifle, one of the things I'm not enjoying are the sights. This rear sight is a sort of a peep, an aperture sight. It is adjustable here, and you can actually change. It actually has a smaller peephole here and a little bit larger one up here. I'm going to actually alter this. I think this hole needs to be bigger. And you know, one of the things about these survival rifles is that you're not looking for a lot of accuracy anyway. You're just, you know, you're going to be shooting game at probably, 20 yards or something with this thing, and accuracy is not one of its benefits. What you're looking for is a quick acquisition of a target. That's my opinion anyway. The other thing I don't necessarily like is this front sight post. It's kind of cool because you can drift it with your hand, but the bad part about that is that it'll drift by itself too. So what I'm actually going to do is print a new front sight that's almost like an aperture type sight, where you could use the outline of the aperture as the post, or you could actually see through it. Hope that's the goal anyway. The difficult part here is going to be actually being able to print this dovetail to fit in that notch. So it'll take me probably 3 or 4 tries just to get that to fit. Once I get that dovetail to fit, then I can play around with what kind of front sight I want. So the first thing obviously I have to do is measure everything, and like I said, one of the challenges is going to be to actually get these measurements to work, because the printer will actually overprints a little bit. So where that says 6.42 millimeters, I'll probably have to make it like 6 millimeters or something like that, because the printer overprints by the thickness of the bead coming out. So maybe I'll make that 6 to begin with, and this is going to be critical, that length of the dovetail. See if I can get that in the light. It says 8.42. Again, I think if I just make that 8 millimeters, that'll probably work. Then you got to measure this small part of the dovetail, which says 6.51. So see there, I would just start out with 6 millimeters and 8 millimeters, and then this one's not so critical, it laps over, so I could make that like 14.5 millimeters. So let's see what we can come up with on a first print. I mean, the fun thing about this is it's not going to take too much time. It's so small. So these are the kind of fun little projects you can do with a 3D printer that make it worth fooling with. So what I'm going to do here is just do like a aperture sight, and I think I'll offset this enough to give it a nice, see, what is that, 1 millimeter, and we'll pull this out to the end of there like that, and we'll get rid of that middle surface in that middle. But I think what I need to do is add some meat. So what I may do is bring up, how would that look? just brought that over. That would actually help the printing process right there. Give a little more meat. Alright, let's see how that works. We'll export it. STL file, millimeters. STL. And we're going to call it AK Front Sight Revision 1 STL. And then we're going to upload it to NetFab and make sure all the surfaces are correct. That looks pretty good. Making that top aperture smaller, I didn't have any trouble connecting the top radius, so it'll fit in the case better and also print better. That looks really good. I'm happy with that. I made it just a little bit smaller on top because I noticed when I was putting it in the case it rubbed a little bit. That black mark is where it rubbed. So this was like 7 millimeters. I made it like 6.5 or maybe even 6, the diameter. So I made it just a little bit smaller. I think it'll fit in the case better now, which is something I didn't think about until after the fact. But there's a little slot in the case, and I just took my rat tail file and stuck it in there, gave it a few wallering out, and it's working fine now. So let's put the rear sight on and see how it fits. Oh baby. It's funny, once you understand your printer and you understand the overprint, in other words, you know, the calibration of it. When I measured this other piece, I had to make this about 0.5 millimeter smaller in width because I knew the printer was going to overprint a little bit. But once you understand all that, it starts to get easier to make things, and you can make things quicker and more accurately. So I can get this screw started. Get my fat fingers out of the way. Now I'm going to adjust this up a little bit because it was shooting a little bit low. So I'm going to try it up a little bit higher. See how that works. Oh yeah. Oh baby. I'm happy now. I'm going to have to make a special range trip for this. Aim for the cap. Shooting a little high. Aiming for a shiny spot. Well, that was fun. Bring 100 rounds of ammo and just one gun, travel light. Quick in and out. I really like those sights. I think what I need to do is close down that front aperture just a little bit. Make it a little bit smaller. It'll fit in the case better. And you really don't need that aperture that large on the front. And the rear sight needs to be a little longer, because I noticed when I adjusted it down there was a gap at the top and it was kind of distracting when you were trying to aim. So few little adjustments, and those babies are ready to rock and roll. So what I'll do is, by the way, I've got some files I'm going to be putting up on my website. I've got a download site set up now, and I've got one file up there, but it's just that piece of art thing I did, just as kind of a test download. But I'll start putting some of these STL files up there, and I'll share these files once I get them tweaked. So thanks a lot, guys. Gotta get out of here now.